Hello Yates County and beyond. Welcome back to another episode of Invasive Species Friday. Through this short weekly podcast, we at the Yates CCE hope to bring you information about the invasive species you may see around this county. We're back in the wetlands with this week's invasive, common reed. Non-native common reed is the most widespread strain of common reed in New York and the Northeast. There are native lineages, one of which is native to New York, but since this is Invasive Species Friday, we'll be discussing the harmful non-native variety. It was introduced by accident in the late 18th or early 19th century when it was brought from Europe in contaminated shipping ballast. It can now be found in every state and most of the Canadian provinces. It's also been reported in all but one county in New York. Common reed is a perennial grass that can reach over 15 feet tall. Also called ditch reed, it prefers sunny, moist habitats and disturbed areas like lake shores, riverbanks, and roadways. Common reed grass is very tolerant of a wide range of environments, including fresh to brackish water, dry conditions, and alkaline to acidic soil. The stems of the grass are stiff and hollow with very slight ridges. The plant's blue-green leaves are smooth and between 6 to 24 inches long, and are arranged alternately along the stem. From July to September, bushy plumes of spikelets between 7.5 and 15 inches long bloom light brown to purple. They kind of resemble feather dusters. The flowers give way to small tan seeds covered in white hairs. These are spread by wind and water, and each plant can produce 2,000 seeds per year, though viability is variable. The roots of the common reed extend down in search of water, reaching over 6 feet long. Horizontally, the stout oval rhizomes can spread up to 10 feet. Common reed can spread vegetatively through its rhizomes and rhizome fragments. This plant can also spread through stolons or lateral shoots that can root, forming new plants. These can grow over 40 feet from the parent plant. Common reed comes at you from both ends of the natural hazard spectrum. It can clog drainage structures, increasing flooding, and the dry stalks left behind in the fall can be a fire hazard. Because of its vigorous growth and numerous methods of spread, this plant can quickly take over an area, creating a dense, sometimes impenetrable monoculture. As we've previously discussed, monocultures of invasive species don't provide sufficient food or shelter for native animals and exclude native vegetation. Though common reed dies back in the winter, the dead stems remain and can accumulate into mats that block light and prevent native plants from growing. Additionally, as the plant spreads, filling in wetlands, water flow is reduced, and so is the wetland's ability to compensate for flood events. Common reed stems can also trap sediments, causing water bodies to become increasingly shallower. Both changes in the area's hydrology can significantly degrade wetland habitat. In other water bodies like lakes and streams, common reed presents the extra challenge of being impossible for boats, swimmers, and fish to pass through. Though it can be tricky, there are ways to tell the difference between the native and non-native common reeds. For example, the leaf sheath is part of the leaf that wraps around the stem, protecting both the stem and other emerging leaves. On the native common reed, the sheath is very loose. When the plant dies back and the leaves drop, the sheath usually drops with it. On the invasive reed, the leaf drops off, but the sheaths are so tight they typically remain on the stem. Speaking of the stem, the native common reed has green to maroon stems in the summer. They may have a maroon color only on the nodes, but the majority of the nodes will be maroon in that case. They also can have small round spots of fungus present in the late summer and on the dead stems. Invasive common reed stems are typically all green with yellowish nodes, though the lowest nodes may have that maroon color. Fungal bodies are extremely rare on the invasive variety, and they're patchy instead of spotted. Our last difference between the two is the leaf color. The native leaves are yellow-green in color. In most habitats, the introduced leaves are a blue-green. In brackish water, they may be more of a yellow-green, but the native variety is usually still lighter in color than the invasive. And finally, let's discuss what you should do if you're dealing with a clump of invasive common reed. Due to the sensitive habitats it invades, the management strategies for controlling the plant need to be site-specific. To prevent the spread of common reed, it's sometimes possible to plant or maintain vegetation that can compete with it. Plants like black rush or salt meadow cordgrass have been shown to limit the spread of the invasive, but make sure whatever you choose is native to your area. In terms of mechanical removal, repeated mowing of infestations may be temporarily helpful. Breaking stems repeatedly during high water years especially has shown success in killing larger portions of colonies. Because of the rhizome spread of this plant, hand pulling is not recommended. The root system is just too expansive and tough, and the plant can sprout from any small piece left behind. There are chemical methods available to help control new colonies, but a certified pesticide applicator is needed to apply herbicides in wetland areas. There are two other ways to control common reed that we haven't really mentioned on this show previously. One is hydrology. Manipulating the water level around the reed can help decrease populations. The second control method is fire. Prescribed burns can be very effective, especially when used in conjunction with herbicides or hydrologic methods. It can be used to kill rhizomes or to clear dead stems to let other plants grow. After burns have been completed, research has shown flooding limits the soil air available to surviving rhizomes, further decreasing the chance of regrowth. Fire is not, however, a backyard management strategy. Please do not attempt to use fire to control invasive species unless you have the proper training and permits. And with that, we reach the end of this week's episode of Invasive Species Friday. Next Friday, we'll be back with a leathery free floater. Until then, we at the HCCE thank you for tuning in and supporting our fight against invasive species in Yates County.